What's up, guys? My name's Dylan, and this is my very first YouTube video. And I've been meaning to make a YouTube channel just discussing football for a long time, and it's been long overdue. And with the World Cup coming, I feel like now is a great time to get started. And the first thing I sort of wanted to talk about is the World Cup qualification results and what ended up happening with those matches. Firstly, Italy, that is something massive that we need to talk about. I am absolutely surprised, but also not surprised at the same time that Italy did not end up qualifying for the World Cup. FIFA ranked number 13 team ended up losing. This Bosnia team fought really hard. I watched most of the match, and they definitely deserved to win. Now, seeing Bastoni get the red card, that basically solidified the match and kind of really gave Italy no hope there because the best result they could have asked for was probably a draw after seeing the amount of chances that Bosnia had for the rest of the game after Bastoni got that red card in the 41st minute. I felt like there was no chance Italy was going to end up winning that game. Now, Moise Kean did have a great chance later on to make it 2-0. That potentially could have won the game for Italy, but after that red card, I really heavily thought that Bosnia would get a goal at some point, and it was almost inevitable. And in the 79th minute, that goal came. And after that, I really didn't see Italy pushing on to end up scoring a winner. I really didn't think that would be possible, and I was proven correct. And the fact that they ended up losing in a penalty shootout, that honestly is a little surprising to me. Having Donnarumma, he is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, especially when it comes to penalty shootouts. I'm quite surprised that they ended up losing, but Bosnia buried their penalties. There was no chance for Donnarumma to save most of those, and Italy's penalty takers, awful penalties, horrible penalties, literally missing the whole goal. It can't be happening when we're talking about World Cup qualification on the line. Very disappointing for Italy, a team who hasn't qualified for the last 3 World Cups. That is crazy, especially for a country that has so much rich history when it comes to the World Cup. Quite surprising, but honestly just makes you wonder, how did this team win the Euros in 2021? Because their World Cup performances have been non-existent because they haven't made the World Cup, but ended up winning the Euros in 2021. That is the only reason they have some sort of relevancy when it comes to international football. When you look at where the Italian league is at right now, it's honestly not that surprising. The Italian league has been underperforming immensely, maybe besides Inter Milan. Even them, though, getting knocked out by Bodo Glimt in the Champions League. The Italian league is in an awful place, and Italian football in general is in an awful place right now. Much congratulations to Bosnia, though. Fully deserved to win that match, and Italy definitely were underestimating Bosnia for sure. In terms of the other matches, Sweden surprising Poland. Poland, the team that you'd think would make a 48-team World Cup, but just could not get there. Sweden definitely outplayed them, and shout out to Victor Gyökeres. Surprisingly ended up getting that winning goal. I am a Victor Gyökeres hater. I do not think he's a very good striker, but surprisingly ended up finding the winner in the 88th minute. Sweden did deserve to win this game from the highlights. I believe for sure they had the better of the chances in comparison to Poland, and I think Sweden played well enough to win that match and ended up getting them a spot in the World Cup. Along with Turkey 100% deserved to beat Kosovo. Now that was a nitty-gritty game. That was a tough game. Knew Kosovo would be playing tough, but Turkey ended up finding a goal there in the 53rd minute and ended up getting across the line. Turkey, a team that will be underestimated coming into this World Cup, and I think Turkey is a very talented team with the likes of Arda Güler. This team is not a team to underestimate. I really think they could be dangerous when in the World Cup, and I personally would be scared to run into them. And then lastly, Czechia ending up knocking off Denmark. That one was quite a surprise as well. Denmark, just like Italy, performed very poorly in their penalty shootout. I mean, to get it to 2-2, that was impressive. And honestly, this Czechia team was impressive to me as well. Really looking how they played today. Some names that I see in the Premier League, like Krejci, playing extremely well, finding a goal, and seeing that he's also the captain of that team. not a bad team at all. And obviously, the likes of Patrick Schick, Kufal. This is not a bad Czechia team whatsoever, but you'd still think that Denmark would find a way to win this match. Um, but they didn't. And the likes of Hoyland, he performed well early, but obviously completely shanking his penalty. It's not a good look for Hoyland. So now when we come to look at the World Cup groups that are now officially set, Czechia lands in Group A with South Korea, South Africa, and Mexico. That's interesting. I could 100% see Czechia possibly emerging from that group. 100% not out of the question. I think all of those four teams can beat each other. It's very, very even group. Mexico obviously will be the slight favorite going into the World Cup, but we've seen Mexico underperform internationally across the last 10 years, 15 years. So really that group could be anybody's. And then looking at Group B, Bosnia is going to slot into Group B with Canada, Qatar, and Switzerland. And if you really look at it, if Italy was slotting into that group, you would say Italy potentially could be the favorite in that group. But obviously did not perform well enough against Bosnia or in the World Cup qualification process as a whole to end up making it there. So Bosnia will slot into that group, and honestly, I think Canada will be a slight favorite in that group as well, with Switzerland following close behind them. I think that is definitely an interesting group between those two teams. I don't give Qatar much of a chance, or really Bosnia for that matter, but I could totally see Bosnia finishing third place in that group, but nothing higher. Looking at Group C, unchanged, no new qualification spots there, but Brazil, it's obviously Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland, and Brazil will be a heavy favorite for this group. Don't underestimate Morocco, but Brazil will be a heavy favorite for that group. And I believe Brazil versus Morocco is one of the games, one of the earlier games in the World Cup. So that game will obviously sort of decide this group, with those two teams being the heavy front runners. Then look at Group D with USA, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. Again, Turkey is not a team I'd want to underestimate for the USA, especially with how the USA has performed in these friendlies. Awful results against Belgium and Portugal. Just looked like on a completely different level. Even against Portugal's B team, they look like they can't even play on the same pitch as them, to be honest with you. I really would not underestimate this Turkey team if I was a USA fan, and I 100% could see Turkey winning this group without a doubt. They have the talent to do so. Looking at Group E, we have Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. Germany is going to be a heavy favorite for this group. Ecuador is a team I wouldn't underestimate, though. Very strong defensively with the likes of Pacho, with the likes of Hincapié. This team is not a team to underestimate, especially defensively. Moises Caicedo, of course. I really think they could get results against Ivory Coast and Curacao, and I definitely would see Ecuador finishing second, but it's hard to ignore Germany there. Looking at Group F, this is where Sweden is going to slot in. Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. Netherlands and Japan, both those teams are extremely solid, but I definitely give the edge to Netherlands. I think they are the best team in that group without a doubt. And I think Japan obviously always usually turns up for World Cup, so I can totally see Japan finishing second in that group. Moving on to Group G, we have Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. Belgium will definitely be the favorites in this group, and not necessarily because I think Belgium is an amazing team, more so because I think it's a rather easy group for them. Egypt, not much international football has been played, especially in the World Cup by them. I believe this is their first World Cup, so really shouldn't expect much for them. Iran's a team that always plays well, but I don't think they'll be able to compete with Belgium. Then moving on to Group H, where Spain, Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay are going to come up against each other, and Spain is going to be a heavy favorite in this group. Uruguay is a team that has some talent, but has some issues within the club, within their organization that need to be figured out, and I haven't seen the cohesion from that team to be able to play with the talent that they have. And obviously, Spain, a team who just won the Euros, is not one to mess with. And Spain is most likely, honestly, the favorite for the World Cup in general. Moving on to Group I, we have France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. France is going to be a large favorite in this group as well, but Senegal and France, that is going to be an amazing matchup. Senegal always comes to play against France, so that will be one to watch for sure. Obviously, Norway with Erling Haaland, that is always going to be fun to watch, but you wouldn't give them as much of a chance as France, obviously. But I feel like Norway can definitely get second place in this group. That is definitely possible depending on how they can perform against Senegal. Looking at Group J, Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. Argentina is a clear favorite in this group. It's not even close, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win all 3 games comfortably. I can't really see any teams competing with them at all from that group. And looking at Group K, Portugal, Congo, who just got slotted in there, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. This will be an interesting group because we've seen Portugal play extremely well recently, but are they peaking too early? That's something I'm taking a look at. Colombia just lost both of their friendlies recently, which is knocking my stock down on them, but I was quite high on this Colombia team earlier on. I feel like they have the talent, but couldn't really put it together in these recent friendlies, and quite poor performances is making me question whether this Colombia team can truly compete. But Portugal will be the favorite in that group. I could totally see Colombia finishing second. I think they will finish second, but competing with Portugal is a different story. And last but not least, Group L, England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama. This is a difficult group. This is not easy, especially competing for second place. I think England can comfortably get first. While they did lose their friendly today, I wouldn't be surprised if they come first very comfortably. Croatia, a team that always turns up for World Cups, but Croatia's lost a lot of their best players, and a lot of their best players are just simply older. So I could see a team like Ghana sneaking in a second place and end up qualifying for the round of 32, but I think England will comfortably win that group. All right, well, we've now discussed all the World Cup groups as well as the recent results today of the final teams qualifying for the World Cup, and I'll be back soon discussing some more international football and some football on the club level as well. Hope to make some videos about Man City because that is the team I support. So could see some content like that in the future. But if you want to see anything else, comment down below what you'd like to see.